Good evening, everybody. Welcome to one more session on Antwalk Masterclass for Digital Marketing. Today, we have a very exciting session on what does a typical day in the life of a digital marketer looks like. And it's a very interesting question for folks who are looking to make digital marketing as a career, folks who have worked with other digital marketeers and looking to transition into this domain. And to answer all these questions, we have a very senior and experienced uh, expert joining us, Gursimran. I'll briefly introduce him in a minute. Uh, so before I get started with that, request everyone, to this is a complete open Q&A format today. So if you guys have any questions, please start posting them on the chat box and we'll pick them up as and when they come in, and as many as possible. Uh, at the same time, request you all to stay on mute uh, in respecting the others in the room, so that everybody has a very uh, insightful session without any disturbance. Okay. With that, let's get started. Good evening again, everybody. Good evening, Gursimran. Today is a very interesting session. After I introduce the speaker, we will cover topics ranging from what does a day look like in the life of a digital marketeer, what are some of the roles and responsibilities that different digital marketeers have on a daily basis, and of course, a very important aspect, which is soft skills. How important do they play a role in a digital marketing professional's life? And we'll also speak a little bit about a very specific part of digital marketing, which is brand and storytelling, which is what Gursimran is known for, among other things. And of course, we'll take any other questions that don't fit in this bucket of items. Uh, cool. So welcome, Gursimran. Thanks for making out time on a weekday at 6 p.m. We're very glad to have you here to quickly introduce Gursimran to everybody on the session today. Um, a passionate brand and content strategy professional. He comes with almost 14 plus years of experience, and he's currently the head of brand strategy at JioSaavn, with previous stints at multiple, renowned communication and marketing companies, whether it's Publicis Groupe or Mullenlowe Lintas, Tilt, and Marico Kaya. Gursimran, brings with him rich experience, and his forte lies in bringing in strategic perspectives that come out of analysis of business strategy, consumer insights, and their behavior in the digital world, while he builds different stages of the brand. And in his 14 years of experience, he has collaborated with creators, inspired and rallied multiple teams for several brands like Flipkart, upGrad, Unilever, Axis, Nestle, to name a few, and has achieved unprecedented outcomes for these brands. So with that intro, again, a warm welcome, Gursimran. Welcome to the session.
Thank you so much. It's really an honor to sort of be amidst the student community always, and then especially student community that sort of edges or probably is almost at the stage of building a formidable career for themselves. And what I really like about Antwalk as a brand is that you're clearly talking about a concept called tribal learning, which is actually all about taking your experiences that you learn on a day-to-day basis and learning from those experiences. So I'm glad I'm able to sort of share those experiences, because in my day-to-day job, I sort of exercise my expertise, but there are a few occasions, and of course, I sort of look forward to such occasions where I can share the learnings that I have had, and then sort of inspire a couple of other people to pick those up and apply and see for themselves whether they fail, whether they pass, whether sort of work for them. But certainly, it's all about telling them right now what has worked for me over the last 14 years of my work experience. So, thank you so much.
Thanks for that, Gursimran. I mean, it's thanks to people like you that we are able to get such quality content on our platform. Welcome once again. Let's get going. Folks, like I said, I can see some questions already. Just as a reminder, please start putting your questions on the chat box and we will take them up. Just to get us started, Gursimran, digital marketing has evolved as a function, right? There are multiple roles, responsibilities. In your mind, who is a digital marketer? What does he typically do?
Right. So I think that's a very interesting question, and the way the way I personally like to look at it is that um, there is something called a digital marketer actually. Uh, so there are marketers in the truest form. Uh, it's just that a marketer who sort of is able to plug it himself or herself into the way people think, make choices, increasingly use tools in the digital ecosystem,
Mm,
and is able to read the choices that people make and what will influence those choices is a digital marketer. So it is a digitized world. There's the number of tools that make up for a digital ecosystem. So let's say, for example, my most common example is that when earlier we wanted to buy something, we used to sort of dress up, uh, go out of our houses, hail a rickshaw or a bus, sit in that, um, go to the store, see if we sort of liked it. We used to buy it in the first try. If we thought we could sort of get a better deal somewhere, we used to look at places elsewhere, not buy it at that time itself. And after having visited or made multiple visits over 3 or 4 weeks, or sometimes even within a week, it could vary, like, you know. Then we used to decide what was the thing we wanted to buy. We bought it, and then we brought it home. We used it, and then we sort of saw how post purchase performance or outcome of that purchase happens. But what has happened now, the same sort of journey has been enabled and to an extent even facilitated by tools in the digital ecosystem. So let's say,
mm,
for example, when you want to sort of uh, buy something, uh, you probably, if you want to buy, let's say, for an example, an electronic good, yeah, you open your phone and the first thing you see is you say Vijay sales near me. You type that, and then you see which is the closest Vijay sales around you. Okay, fine. I'm staying in Bandra, so the closest one to me is probably the one that's in Bandra or the one which is at the other Shivaji Park. So then what I do is I sort of next take exit Google, I open Uber or an Ola, and I sort of uh, uh, pin my destination over there. I hail for a cab ride. I sit in the cab, I go over there, I sort of pay the cab through a digital wallet.
mm.
So you see, at every step, the things that you do and ultimately what you want doesn't change very drastically. But what changes is the way you approach that entire purchase cycle today.
Correct.
Uh, so similarly, the job that I'm in currently, music streaming has sort of replaced the entire need to buy vinyls,
Mm,
to sort of buy CDs, to sort of go to a music store altogether and buy those sorts of things. But the inherent need to want to listen to music is still the same at the end of the day.
right.
So, like I said, it's a marketer. It's just a marketer who's well versed with the digitized world that the customer today uses to access all that they want to buy. Yes, if you want to call it a digital marketer, so be it. But that's my definition of what marketing in today's digitized world means. And people who help influence those choices, enable purchases, and influence other people's choices are marketeers in this digitized world.
Well put. I think we have some good follow-up questions already coming in. For example, Himanshu is asking, I am 22 years old. Can I start a career in digital marketing now?
Yes, of course. This is the sort of right age to start a career in digital marketing. In fact, um, you know, what you need to learn in this whole space of digital marketing varies from different from person to person. You could sort of um, learn with something as basic and inherent as social media marketing, which is one area of digital marketing, right at the age of 19, 20, 22, which is where you are right now. You could graduate a little, you could learn coding, you could actually create ecosystem, design UX and UI for different brands. Uh, you could pursue that next. Whereas someone who is at like 35 years of his life spent, and then he's probably spent 13 years working, for that person, digital marketing would be relevant in a different way. So let's say, for example, if they want to sort of talk about how do I assess various channels of mine which bring revenue to me, so they would want to learn that. So yes, there is no age per se to learn digital marketing, but if you want to start the basics of it and be a thorough digital marketer, yes, Himanshu, your age, which is 22 right now, is probably the best age to get into this whole world of digital marketing.
Got it. So on that note, right, I understand it's all marketing, and then it's how, in which domain or which channel you're trying to do the marketing defines it as digital or traditional and so on, right? But even if we use that as a brief definition for digital marketing, what are some domains that people should look at, while marketing on the digital medium?
So there are a couple of domains that people could look. One is the whole area where I think the whole narrative of brands, when it comes to creating relevance and awareness, that has shifted. People sort of access the digital world to know more, to investigate more about brands. So that's the whole world where a lot of social media and a lot of search engine marketing actually comes into play. So how do you sort of ace that game of, let's say, relevance or awareness creation largely? After that, another domain which is associated is when once people sort of investigate, they go to the next step of saying that I want to investigate one last time before I buy, which is where I think a lot of e-commerce marketing sort of comes into play. Because if you look at any of the search volumes on a channel like Google in the last 5 years, what you'll see is like the search volume has drastically decreased over there. And a lot of attribution of search actually has gone to social media search, has gone a lot to e-commerce. So let's say, for example, right now, when we want certain things, we don't sometimes go to Google, but we open Amazon straight away and we start searching over there. So that's where your purchase, which is middle of the funnel, comes into play largely over there. The third ecosystem is the whole payments ecosystem largely, which facilitates purchases. That's the third domain, which is over there. The fourth domain is largely post-purchase, which is like the bottom of the funnel over there. That is another area where let's say, for example, certain things like customer satisfaction has gone to the entire digital world right now. There are various metrics, there are various interfaces that people use to sort of track customer satisfaction at a much larger level. So yes, these are the 4-5 domains in which you sort of can build a career today in digital marketing. And as the narrative of digital marketing shifts from the traditional style to a more full funnel conversion, all these domains will become very, very important in their own right. And you will see more and more budgets in the marketing team shifting exclusively to each of these domains, and of course, bigger volumes of the spends being spent over there.
Got it. Got it. It's very well put. I mean, you use the fundamental marketing principles of, how to get your customer through the funnel and then mapped it to the digital domain. So it's very interesting. Thanks for that, Gursimran. Jasdeep has a question. How do you, a lot of questions around some specific domains here. So Jasdeep has a question on how to make a good career in PPC. How should he go about mastering AdWords and so on?
So one of the best ways to sort of do this is the PPC business is largely a domain of the media world, where a lot of media agencies are heavily investing. So if you see some of the Publicis Groupe companies like Convonix and Performix, they are the ones who are sort of over here. WPP has sort of spent a huge part of their investments over here. Because ultimately, when you talk about full funnel marketing, pay-per-click is basically how do you get people from one part of the funnel to the other. So my advice to you would be maybe starting from a media agency, or let's say starting from a media platform. Like, let's say, for example, it could be an app ecosystem. It could be an OTT system. It could be an e-commerce system. Starting a career either from a media agency or a platform like these would be your best bet to actually make a career in PPC.
Got it. Jasdeep, hope that answers your question. And there's one more interesting question here from Harshada. It's more of a statement. Let me try to put it into a question. Like, can you give us some insights for job opportunities in what you mentioned as SEO and SEM?
Right.
So I guess the question would be more around what kind of entry-level roles can one expect? What could be some of the responsibilities for them?
Yeah. So SEO, SEM are very sort of specialized domains. Similarly, the earlier one which you were speaking about, which is PPC, is a very specialized domain largely. People usually spend time to actually take up courses in search engine marketing, or let's say in PPC, and do specialization in them to get into these sort of roles largely. If I was to say search engine marketing today, in the larger digital marketing department, will be actually one person. It will be largely an individual contributor role that basically reports into the larger digital marketing manager. Because the digital marketing manager needs to keep track of the entire dashboard of things that are happening. Search is one part of the entire thing that they need. So he will always have one person reporting into him who will be largely a search engine optimization manager or a search engine marketing manager largely. The career prospects of someone who is starting a career in search is that after having completed or done this for a while, they can graduate to actually become full-fledged digital marketing managers also.
Got it. Very useful. Guys, I'm trying to bucket all your questions. So let me take all the role-specific questions, and then we'll get into the career preparation kind of questions. Yeah, so bear with me. Nikhil has a question on, it's a very interesting one. Data analytics versus digital marketing. Which one is better? Are they even correlated?
Yes. So you answer your question, correlation. Yes, there is a huge correlation between both. Let me sort of explain it using a very simple term, right? When we talk about the overall health of a person, right? And if someone sort of goes to you saying that I'm not keeping well, and I am feeling feverish from the last 2-3 days. So what the physician or the doctor does is they ask you things like, what have you had in the last 3-4 days? Has this fever gone down? What are the things you've tried to subdue this fever? When was the last time you got this fever? Any other symptoms? Are you sort of having with the fever? Are you having a bad throat as well? those sort of things. And then after knowing all of these things, he sort of writes you a prescription and a course of treatment, which you've got to then administer and feel better. So actually, this entire process, what you'll see is there are two parts to it. One is the diagnosis of things, and the other is the treatment part of it. Okay. Similarly, if I was to translate these two concepts into digital marketing and data analytics is a dashboard or a field which is all about diagnosing the health of your business, the health of your brand, how consumers are interacting, what is the marketing all about. So all your metrics, how are they faring, and to keep tracking them over the course of time is almost like diagnosing the health of what you do. And digital marketing then sort of takes it forward and starts putting actionables to it. Action points kya hai uske upar. So let's say, for example, if data analytics is telling me that I place so many, let's say, for example, 2 ads on that website, 3 ads on website B, and 1 ad on website C. Now, there's a lot of data coming from those because that's actually the traffic that we're talking about. But let's say channel C or website C, people are coming and there's a certain bounce rate around it. And that bounce rate is, let's say, for example, a lot more than website A. So suddenly now what you have is your data analytics is giving you a certain situation, a certain picture. So what will digital marketing do is basically it will say, let me sort of see all the sort of things in and around website A, the ad that I put in website A, and the ad that I put in website C. They'll compare both those and then investigate that, okay, what are the various problems that could have occurred on website C? Is it the fact that the bandwidth is an issue? Does the website does not load properly? Is my ad that I've put over there not evocative enough? Is not clear enough so that people are clicking, and when they come over there, they don't want to stay there or even interact further for a minute with my ad. So that's the correlation between where data analytics portrays the picture or the health of your campaign, and digital marketing picks up those diagnostic measures or symptoms and then solves for those largely.
Got it. That's a good example to explain the role of data in digital marketing. Simon has a very broad question, but an interesting one. I think a lot of people have this in their mind. Which areas of digital marketing is most effective? Are there any which you can call out?
It completely depends upon how do you define efficacy. If you can define what you mean by effective, I could probably answer your question more sharply.
Right. Let's take an example. I'll take an example. Right. If my way of measuring efficacy is, say, how many people visit my website.
Okay.
Right. So in that case, are there any particular ways of digital marketing which we should start focusing on against others, or is it all a sum of all parts kind of a thing?
It's sum of all parts, honestly, because see, like in this situation, you're talking about how many people visit my website, right? It's a function of 2-3 things. It's a function of the website and it's a function of people. If I was to dissect them further, right? People will come onto your website from somewhere. That somewhere could be an ad that you could have placed on social media, and how much you've spent on getting those impressions. Those people could actually come from searches on Google, which means how much you've optimized yourself according to the keywords on Google. And how much have you sort of been relevant in the ranking of that page, right? So that's the people part of it. So that's where search comes into picture. That's where social media marketing comes into the picture. Then the other part is, which is talking about how many people are visiting my website. It depends upon how you built your website, which is many functions to it, right? At the end of the day, that how well is your website integrated? How well is the system of your website? How well does your website, your web page load so that they can be an exact count that you can get of the people visiting over there. So, like I said, it's a sum of all the parts that come together to basically say that how effective am I as a brand when it comes to getting people to my website. So there are multiple parts into it.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So we have some questions from people who are not necessarily trying for a digital marketing professional career, but more either as a freelancer or running their own business, right? So for example, Nikita is asking, what are the pointers to keep in mind before starting a business related to digital marketing?
Okay. So I haven't done myself. I haven't started up myself, but let me answer this for you a little because of course there are a lot of friends who have started things in that domain. I think a couple of things that you've got to sort of see is that and it all depends upon which clients you want to sort of start engaging with first, largely. So I'm saying that if they belong to a category, you've got to understand what are the most important metrics that people or clients in that category look forward to. So let's say, for example, if I have a client who is selling a soap versus a client who is basically selling online education, the metrics for both will be very different. For someone who's selling a soap, awareness, relevance, and number of units sold, which is volumes, will be most important for that kind of a person. Whereas someone who's sort of selling online courses, things like, let's say, leads, from leads conversion to it be about, let's say, for example, I want to see people signing up for a trial session, to people signing up from a trial session to a course, to actually complete full completion of a course. So there are various metrics along the way which will vary for all the categories. Okay, so you've got to see, and then what I forgot to add to that is that you need to make different investments in all these domains as someone who's starting up in the digital world. So if, let's say, for example, you're getting to someone who's making soaps, you say that, okay, I will concentrate on only doing social media marketing for you because that's where you want to make your brand salient and you want to make your brand relevant. So that's where I will play largely. Let's say for someone who is in the online education business, you may need to invest a lot more in as an agency and be relevant to them in the whole performance marketing domain. Because when you talk about full funnel conversion, that's where performance becomes a lot more important. And that's where you as an agency will be of most relevance to them. So when you're starting up, you need to first look at who are you serving, what's more important to them. That's the first point. The second point after that is, let's say, if there is a certain part of digital marketing, there are many people vying for that same part. So where can you sort of build your expertise the best over there? Because let's say, for example, across the funnel, you would do performance, you would do social media, you would do website building, you would do a lot more media optimization, you would do a lot more user journey sort of work, you would do a lot of customer service. Now, which out of these happens to be the need for the client largely, and where do you fit largely over there? That's the second area you've got to identify, which is basically your strengths. So first stage is what I'm capable of doing. Two is what are my strengths largely over there. And the third is, let's say, for example, after I have got one pie out of the entire pizza, how can I go for the other pies? So let's say, for example, if I am someone who's doing social media marketing today, is it easy for me to sort of diversify as a digital marketing agency into search? Or is it easy for me to diversify into performance marketing? Because then what you do is, after having built relevance for yourself in a domain, you will want to sort of take up different mandates from the same brand in many other ways. So that's like if you want to concentrate on one domain. But let's say if you're a digital marketing agency and you want to sort of concentrate on multiple brands and multiple categories, then you have no choice but to actually invest in a lot of things at the same point in time. Uh, and of course, above all these things, what I would personally request all of you is that um, a good understanding of how consumers uh, sort of take decisions. That is very, very important, which is where the entire concept of user journeys comes into play.
Hmm.
So understanding how marketing works, or let's say how brand building works, the basics of those are somewhere that you will constantly need to refer to back and forth while applying to any of these uh, tools, whether you are a social media agency, whether you're performance marketing, whatever it is. Understanding humans and how they make decisions while buying things, that is most important. Yeah, so these are some 3 4 areas that I could probably sort of help you with at this point of time. Like I said, that I personally haven't started a business, but at least from my colleagues and my friends who are in this domain, and I
Hmm.
speak to them, these are some of the most common things that they sort of face a problem, which is one is startup and then is scale up, both these phases.
Got it. I think there's a similar question from Chinky as well around freelancing. I think, but you covered quite a few of those points. A good follow-up question from Ramya is that, uh, you talked about performance marketing, right? What are some of the job opportunities in this domain? First of all, is growth hacking the same as performance marketing? Are they related to digital marketing? And if so, what are some of the job opportunities here?
Yeah. So I think digital marketing, like I said, is the larger meta universe of things. There are various things in it, and growth marketing is one area under that. Now, growth marketing is not a specialized function. Growth marketing is a mindset, if I was to put it like that. Uh, what it is largely defined as is that, sorry,
Sorry
yeah,
about that.
sorry,
Guys, stay on
sorry.
mute, please. Thank you.
Uh, so, like I was saying, that growth marketing, or let's say growth hacking, is a mindset. It basically says that whatever it takes under the whole domain of marketing to unlock growth is what you will do. So, usually, growth hacking mindset, or let's say growth hacking professionals, are those who would be specialized in more than one, or let's say in multiple things. They would also know search, they would also know social media, they would also know performance, they would also know UX, UI, they would also know customer service largely. So those are those people who are well versed with all these different functions and can employ each of these to different degrees to get the required output. So let's
Hmm.
say, for example, if you is someone who is sort of starting recommendations and reviews website largely, and you want to sort of quickly scale up to a certain user base or a subscriber base or uh, uh, or a sign up base, you will hire a growth hacking professional. Say that this is the time frame that I have. These are my objectives. This is my problem statement. I need to get from here to here. So you'll define what is the movement in terms of business metrics you want from that person. And then that person who's a growth hacking professional will come back to you with an optimized plan of saying that first we will do X, then we will do Y, then we'll do Z. This is my larger plan for you, which I will do. This is the time frame. This is the resources I bring to the table. This is the resources I need from you. That's simply the sort of growth hacking conversation that is happening today. It is still a very new sort of domain, largely, and it's increasingly growing as and when people are getting more and more proficient with things. So you will not find a lot of growth hacking job descriptions in organizations. Like I said, because it's a mindset. But you will find a lot of growth hacking consultants or professionals who run their own shop.
Got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. I think there's a very interesting set of questions here because uh, while we talked about the larger digital marketing space, Gursimran, you come with a lot of focus on brand and storytelling, which is an equally important part of marketing, whether it's digital or not, right? Uh, so Rohit has a question is, how do you become a brand strategist and what mistakes to avoid and what factors to consider while learning or working as a brand in the brand role?
Okay, so yeah, this is something that I've sort of made a living out of. So lastly, if I was to talk about being a strategist, there are two, three things. I think one is you primarily operate out of the thinking hat of the person you are trying to sell your thing to, which is the consumer. That's by default state of a strategist, because um, the way a strategist would lens every decision, every initiative by a brand is that how is this going to impact my customer? So it is all about saying that here's the stimulus that I'm putting in front of that person, and this is a sort of response I elicit out of that person. Now, let's talk about stimulus largely. Stimulus that you put over there has an end to meet, which is the response over there. So when we talk about the response that we want to elicit, it could be a function of various things. Let's say, for example, if you have sort of, if you are a quick service restaurant, okay, and you have kept something called happy hours, which is between 5 in the evening to 8 in the evening. Now, you have managed to sort of feed your message and reach the right user between 5 to 8 on his cell phone, on his laptop, wherever it is, or let's say even through a hoarding. But the fact is that that person may not buy you or may not be able to buy you.
Hmm.
Simple reasons is because, let's say for example, he may not buy you for simple reasons is because तुमने आज ट्यूसडे को डाला है, लेकिन उस दिन वो बंदा वेजिटेरियन है. It could be something as simple as that. So the other thing is that person may not be able to buy you. Could be a reason as simple as the area that that person is, वहाँ पे network बहुत कम है, so he's not able to place that order. So there are a zillion factors that actually impact every customer's decision making. Some could be let's say category related, some could be culture related, some could be availability related, some could be affordability related. Like I'm just talking about, like these are some of the large buckets, but largely a lot of factors could sort of come into the play. So the job of a strategist is to actually think what are the various scenarios in which my consumer will buy me the best. So the first thing that a strategist will think of is scenarios. You work from a null hypothesis of saying that this is the best case scenario, and then you work towards non-null hypothesis, which is these are the various things that could impact the person and he may not buy me. There's an entire science around it where you sort of study the brand, you study competition, you study culture, and apply all these things to the entire user journey at different points. It is not something that I can sort of explain in a minute, but that is the overall crux of it. That's what strategists do largely. So yes, a career in strategy will require you to think of first the consumer and then encourage you to sort of wear multiple hats in and round. You sometimes have to wear the hat of a shopkeeper also. You have to sometimes wear the hat of the salesperson also. Sometimes you have to wear the hat of the influencer in that buyer's life also. So there are multiple hats you have to wear, and that is where the skill of a strategist largely comes into play.
Got it. Gursimran, should we run the poll to?
Oh yes, let's do that. So I sort of spoken with Sri, and we sort of said that we will sort of have a bit of a small poll, because the point that I want to land with the poll is the importance of how brands need to impact every point in a consumer journey, and to what extent have people started to do or investigate differently across the entire user journey? So this poll is about that. It's certain guesses that you have to take. So I hope this makes your time worthwhile.
Nice. Interesting, guys. So I will launch the poll. Please take 2 seconds to respond, read the question, and just select the right answer that you guys are thinking. Here you go. Okay, so you guys should be seeing the question on your screen, whether it's your desktop or your mobile. Okay, so we got nice 15 responses already. All right, guys. 10 more seconds, guys. We got 20 people left. Let's speed it up. Okay, last few seconds. All right, I'm going to end the poll now, Gursimran, and let's see the results. All right. 69% have said people research the product online at any point during their path to purchase.
Right. So Sri, are we showing the right answer also right now, or you want to do it in the end?
No, we can discuss the answer at this point itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the right answer is actually 85% people do, which actually shows the online research behavior that has sort of come into play. In fact, what I'll do is at the end of the session, I'll just leave you back with this research that Google had conducted. And you can sort of read through it. It's a 1.5 to 2-year-old research. By now, I think the numbers would have improved even more because of the lockdown playing a major role in this. But yeah, that is the sort of number that we're talking about over here. So the importance of this is that how important has it become for brands to be there where the consumers are? So 85%. Yes, that's where we are.
Okay.
Cool. Let's go to the next one.
All right. Second poll starting, guys. Again, let's take 15 seconds. Here you go. How many people do their first research ever before buying their product? All right, last few seconds. Come on, guys, it just takes a second to click. I have 45 responses so far. All right. That's the end. And let's see the results. There you go.
Interesting.
55% are saying 84% do the research.
Yeah. Right. The answer is actually 44%.
Wow. Okay.
Which is actually totally opposite to how many of us think over here. So before buying the product is 45%, which is like almost half of buyers over there.
Interesting. Got it. All right, guys. Couple of more. Third poll. Here we go. How many people do a deeper research before buying the product? I think I fall in this category. All right, last 3 seconds. Cool. Let's see the results. Okay, 46% are saying 44% people do a deeper research.
See, over here, I'll actually give it to the 46 and the 33% both, because 44 is very close to 50. The right answer is 50. So yeah, well done. Most of you have pretty much gotten close to what the actual percentage is. So 50% of the people actually do a deeper research before they actually purchase the product. Can anybody sort of guess, maybe write in the chat box that why do you think deeper research is actually done by almost half the people right over there, and that too just before buying the product?
Guys, you can either raise your hand or okay. Shivam is saying big ticket size price.
Interesting.
Hiren says product is expensive, brand may not be known.
Okay.
Harman says to make sure they don't pay more than they should. Maybe check for cheaper alternatives. To check if the product is genuine. Akanksha says don't want the guilt later.
Well said, Akansha.
Akshay says features also does matters and make only trust the brand name, says Jasdeep. All right, Gursimran, what's your take?
So you know what, the larger bucket in which everybody is answering is sort of pretty right, which is I think value is the biggest reason why people actually buy a certain, let's say, do deeper research before buying a product. In fact, this is an insight that I validated when I was working on Flipkart. And over there, when we suddenly get to the middle of the funnel, so so there are multiple metrics that we saw, right? There's a certain user experience that happens, and on an average, there's a certain duration every person for every category spends on Flipkart while buying goods from that category. Apparently, the most amount of time in that entire time band is taken at that point where they are either sort of looking at buying the product, which is where they have sort of generated multiple options and then they have sort of come down to finally doing it. And there are multiple areas in which they sort of look at things. So the biggest bucket is, let's say, for example, people don't want to pay delivery charges. That's one. The second thing is people are looking for promotion codes. That's over there. The third thing is that a lot of websites like Amazon and Flipkart, they suss customers or consumers by saying that add goods worth 149 and avail free delivery, or let's say get further discount, those sort of things. So then people go back and add that 149 or some don't. So that is the melting point of their entire decision, where they're saying, how much can I extract the most out of this deal that I'm trying to make over here? So yes, that's why almost half of the people do a deeper research just before buying the product.
Got it. Two more poll, guys. This is interesting stuff. Let's close the funnel. Here you go. How many actually research at the point of sale?
This question is quite related to the previous one.
Right.
The hint over here is that ideally the number should increase.
Correct.
So if you remember the answer to the last one, you'll probably get this right.
All right, guys. 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going to shut the poll down, and here are the answers.
So yeah, the answer is 70%.
Okay, 29% of you guys got it right.
29% people got it right.
Okay, last poll before we get to more questions. Oh, this one is interesting. How many people research post-purchase? It's a little counterintuitive. Okay, 5 seconds. All right, there we go. And here are the answers.
The answer is actually 58%. So 16%
Wow.
got it right. Can
Wow.
you anybody guess like why 58% of the people research post purchase?
I think this is where that answer we heard about the guilt. I think that might be the answer.
You're very right, Shri. You're very right.
Yeah, validation that they didn't overpay, warranty, service, location. People were reflecting on their purchase. Ankita says.
Yeah. So that's pretty right. Actually, most of you are kind of getting it right. The fact that इतने में मुझे इतना मिला, लेकिन क्या ये इतना अच्छा है या बुरा है? That is the largest sentiment of people once they've sort of purchased it.
Okay.
Cool.
Awesome.
Well done, people. Give yourself a round of applause.
Awesome, guys. Okay, let's move on. So I think we can take a couple of questions around. I saw a bunch of questions, Gursimran, that were coming around. How do you even prepare for a career in this space, right? So I think let's see. We have a question on Harshada in the beginning had asked, other than fundamentals of digital marketing certification, which other certifications should we even think of doing? So I think the larger question here for you, Gursimran, is, do certifications matter for somebody who wants to begin a career?
Okay, so here's my point of view. The outside world needs to sort of filter you basis something which is basic, right? And then increasingly, as we sort of go to the HR departments and we talk about talent acquisition teams, they want to sort of judge or let's say at least have the initial flush or the filter of people based on certain criteria. So I think that's where certification definitely helps. That you have sort of done that. Now we can keep digging deeper into it, that where should be your certification from, what are the various sort of specializations that you could do basis that. Honestly, to answer your question, what sort of certifications in addition to digital marketing? See, it's your choice totally at the end of the day. If you want to be a specialist at the end of it, then you sort of, after doing digital marketing, let's say you have interest in UI and UX, then you might sort of take up a specialized course in just UI and UX. Or let's say, for example, if you want to sort of build a career in customer service, you might do some courses which are directly into customer service after digital marketing. So it's totally up to you. My sort of thing is that have a filter in your head saying that, okay, I'm a digital marketing certified professional. Do I sort of take this arsenal with me, try myself and put myself to test and learn in the industry? Or let's say if my specialization interest is I want to do a performance marketing stuff, should I just do that course and then get into the industry? It all depends in a way, because sometimes if there's a talent pool, so let's say, for example, the talent pool dearth right now is that in data analytics, in artificial intelligence and machine learning, if that is the pool which has a dearth of professionals, this is also the pool that will actually pay the most. So if I was to say there's an opportunity and there is, what price will you be paid if you are a certified professional in that field? These are some decisions that you have to take on your own.
Got it. So Pratik, as a follow-up question here, right? There are so many courses available in the market. It starts from free, and some courses go up to 1.5 lakhs. how to choose the correct course? Can you please give us a path?
Purely basis what the curriculum is, what they're teaching you, and how much of a balance of theory, classroom sessions, and practical experience-led sessions are they teaching. Uh, these would be my criteria largely because honestly, if you were to, let's say, for example, take a program that is on, let's say, being served on a Coursera or Udemy or an upGrad versus they'll sort of take different institutes over there. One is taking Wharton School, one is taking Micah, one is taking Third, and all those sort of things. But let's say the 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 course content will pretty much be sort of similar. So you've got to my whole assessment of this is how much of live interaction are you having, and that is the end of it. Because ठीक है, course curriculum बना लिया, it is a recorded session, but that recorded session is something that 20,000 other people, or let's say 2 lakh other people, are also looking at. The opportunity that you have in a live session to sort of make it interactive, ask certain questions, maybe sometimes get stumped and sometimes even stump the marketing professional who's teaching you. That opportunity you don't get in recorded sessions largely. So, I mean, there are various pros and cons. So I would urge you to sort of, judge them basis what do you think.
Got it. And that's a very interesting, point that you're making, right? There's just so much content already available out there. How do you even get the right kind of skills? So obviously, I mean, we also at Antwork thought about that extensively, and that's where we also started this program where we are bringing professionals such as yourself. We had Venkat yesterday on the call, who was going to be driving SEO. We have Deepashri, who's going to be talking about content marketing. So we have pulled in the right set of professionals, deliver these a 16-week program where you will have live classes, learn from the real, deal. You guys have done this in and out for decade or more. Therefore, you get the practical knowledge from you guys, get your hands dirty with real life projects, and that's one way of way we can prepare you guys for the digital marketing role that you want to get after the program. Yeah, so I will share details about that shortly. In the meanwhile, we have a couple of more questions around how does the digital marketing plan vary for a B2C versus a B2B company?
So different sort of ways to measure this, and in my current role, I pretty much sort of look at B2B, B2C, both areas. I can sort of talk about it. There's certainly a lot of difference between the two. See, the thing is that the way you sort of were to look at, let's say, for example, I can talk about a streaming platform. The content is what attracts the user to come on the platform and interact with the platform, sign up, subscribe, whatever it is. So the B2B story has to be about what are the multiple ways in which you can make your content the king and most attractive to that consumer who's wanting to come on your app. So let's say, for example, you have managed to get 50 million users largely over there. And these 50 million users have different ways in which they sort of interact. Some spend a lot of time over there, some look at certain genres, some sort of come interspersely, some of them come through free subscriptions that they get on their Airtel or their Jio connections largely. So there's a certain profile that you're portraying of all these users, right, at the end of the day. Now, this sort of a user base, which is one, big in size, two, has nuanced characteristics about itself, is what makes brands interested in coming on your platform and spending on awareness activities or whatever activities they want to do to promote their brand with these users. So there is a big link between how many and what kind of users are there on your platform, or can you bring, and how can you monetize this user base using different brands largely. So in a way, you are at one end fighting the subscriptions game.
Hmm.
At the other end, you're fighting the monetization game, and both are sort of linked to one another. So that's largely the difference between the two. But then there's one point where both of them come and meet.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting. One last question before we get into a little more on the brand side, Gursimran. Ankita is asking, can you throw some light on the job responsibilities for a marketing analyst? Is this role available for a fresher?
Is there, marketing analyst?
And is this role available for a fresher?
So marketing analyst would largely be a person who basically understands, decodes marketing, the entire market for a brand basis numbers, and sort of brings insights out of it. So let's say, for example, if I have a very rich user base in the state of Rajasthan, what are the nuances of those and what are the insights of those people? That's something that a marketing analyst will bring to the fore. Now, one is freshers ke liye usually we, as in an industry, we don't have freshers as market analysts, because what needs to be done is there needs to be an initial 2 to 3 year period where they learn the skill of the game of saying that this is how you identify data, this is how you sort of bring insights and actionable points out of it. Once you're ready to do that is when you can take those and apply them on certain decisions that you have to take with related to marketing. So first you have to sort of learn as a fresher of how the rules of the game are before you start playing with those rules over there. That's the crux of it.
Got it. A very interesting question on from Siddhant is that, sir, how do you negotiate for something like work requirements, salary, and handling teams? I guess it's more around the soft skills part of a digital marketer. So how should one think of soft skills in a digital marketing profession, Gursimran?
Right. So like I told you, like we were speaking about this a little time ago, is that let's say, for example, a place like, let's say, data analytics, there's a huge dearth of professionals out there today, or let's say in machine learning or AI, there's a huge dearth over there. There are enough avenues which will tell you that there are people needed in these sort of domains. So obviously, the price that will be paid to get a professional who is good at their work will be on the uppish largely. So even if you are a fresher or let's say 1 or 2 years experienced person, you can sort of command a good salary or a good price for yourself over there. If I was to go outside the domain of these disciplines largely, if I was to talk about search, if I was to talk about media planning, if I was to talk about social media marketing, there are a lot of people who are already in that phase doing those things largely over there. So then it depends upon how better are you than the rest. A couple of ways to actually show how better are you is the first way is recruiters see is how well certified you are, how well qualified you are. Probably a professional degree or let's say a certification are the other 2 areas to look at. The second thing that they will look at is a lot of users nowadays go and look at your profile on LinkedIn also. What you've done in the past, what are you doing currently, what is the point of view you have, what is the voice that you command in that overall industry that you are a part of. That's the second. So your endeavor should always be that you come across as someone who is opinionated, has a certain point of view, and is always talking about the good work that you are doing over and over again. These are some of the ways to get noticed, and these are some of the ways you can sort of command a better price for yourself than anybody out over there. This is, of course, while getting a job. but there are many other tactics that you will sort of learn while you are at job also. So let's say, for example, you sort of joined after 2 years as an associate in digital marketing at a salary of, let's say, for example, 8 lakhs. But then the thing is, you make a roadmap for yourself that in the next 2 years, I want to sort of learn multiple disciplines within digital marketing. Or let's say, I also want to learn the consumer marketing side of it, or I want to learn the trade marketing side of my business. So that's how you navigate within a company, pick up those additional skills, and in the next 2 years, you move from, let's say, 8 lakhs to a 16 lakhs or a 15 lakhs. So it's about how much you do at the end of the day. Because 8 point aega, when there will be so many people, right, having similar degrees, similar certifications, but the distinct voice that they put for themselves out over there is what is going to make all that difference.
Got it. Got it. I think that's a very interesting. I mean, the amount of work you put in and not just rely on those early degrees is, I think, equally important. If this is whether it's digital marketing or any other upcoming domain, that this need for a continuous way of learning as a professional has become extremely important. Great.
Very important.
Yeah. Gursimran, you want to take us through the last set of
that's perfectly fine. I think this is something. In fact, what let me do is, if you want to sort of get to closing the session, that's perfectly fine. I'm going to paste the link of that video in the chat over here.
Perfect.
And you can definitely look at, because brand and storytelling is largely my forte, where I have sort of I've spent my time for over 14 years, and it's brand storytelling today is not just about what the brand wants to tell, but brand storytelling today is also about consumers putting out a story with respect to your brands, or let's say consumers just putting out a story and your brand latching onto that story and building a narrative for itself. So it's brand generated, it's user generated largely, which I think in a very traditional form we used to talk about earned, paid, and owned media. But the definition of it in today's digital world has really transcended a lot more. So let's say, for example, one of the biggest examples is how Zomato as a brand takes on topicality of whatever's happening around. Or let's say Amul as a brand latches onto topicality, takes it on, and sort of embraces it in such a way that it becomes the brand's point of view on that situation. So things like those. Then certain basics which you anyways must do as a brand, because at the end of the day, people vibe with a brand because of a certain personality of the brand. So what is the personality? There are certain things you do in marketing to carve a certain personality for yourself out over there. There are certain things you do to highlight your offerings, which is your products that you offer at the end of the day. So it is about building a brand culture, and it is about building a popular culture around your brand also. So it's a mix of two, how all these different pieces come together and build one distinct narrative for your brand, which you can keep evolving over the course of time, is what brand and storytelling is all about. Some of your favorite brands that you talk about, let's say, for example, we can talk about brands like Amazon, we can talk about brands like Netflix, we can talk about brands like Starbucks, Nike, we can talk about brands like Apple. Why are they your favorite brands? Because over the course of time, in all these years since you've known them, they have managed to build that distinct narrative through a great storytelling style. And it's not one story, but there are multiple stories that come together. So that's exactly what I will do at the session in digital marketing. I'll be taking up that. And if this clearly interests you a lot more, I would encourage you strongly to sort of go ahead and see what this has in store for you.
Thank you so much for that, Gursimran. And I think it was a fantastic session. We were able to go through multiple examples, a lot of variety of questions. Thanks to the audience for being so active today. I couldn't cover all questions, unfortunately. Maybe we'll pick it up in the next one. And if anybody has any questions or interested in the boot camp, Gursimran is going to be an important part of it. He's going to be taking the brand and storytelling module in, I think, week 8. So please sign up. There's a link at the bottom. If you guys sign up today, we are also having an offer of instant 5,000 rupees off on the program fee. So please join, and one of our education counselors will definitely reach out to you, give you a lot more details about what will happen during the program and post program in terms of placement assistance as well. Thanks again, Gursimran. Wonderful session, wonderful engagement. Thanks everybody on the call. Hope to see you soon on the next set of events. We have and have a good one.
Yeah, just wanted to sort of throw one thing is that I am going to paste this link on the chat. So please take a look at that. This actually brings to the fore what we will talk about. Yeah, take a look. Sorry, did everybody receive the link? Or maybe what you could do is...
Can I paste it instead?
Yeah, please go for it.
Yeah, I think it's this one, right?
That's right.
Here you go, guys. Do check out the video. It's a very interesting take on how to effectively think of brand and storytelling as part of your digital marketing career. Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Gursimran, for the time, and we'll see you shortly on other sessions.
Right. Thank you so much. And thanks for being a lovely audience. Bye-bye. Thanks, Ray.
All right. Take care.